Hello and welcome to Feel Bad Friday. That's right, I'm back with another Feel Bad Friday. And this time I've got the actual official legit version 0.7. I know you've seen this written here before, but it's never really been version 0.7 because it is coming out today or whenever Humble Bundle loads it up onto the website. If you want it in advance or anything like that, get in touch with me. I'll be sending links along to various people. Random player NealCruco, you know who you are, in order to play the game or get the new version ASAP. But there's been quite a few changes to it, as you'll see as we're kind of playing along with it. There's a lot of little changes like speeding things up. I'll show off some of the changes that are going on, or you can take a look at how things behave a little bit differently as we tackle 0D11. I think that's a 0, if it's not an O. 0D11 by NealCruco, of course, given the naming. We can, one thing we notice right off the bat is the menu up here has been shifted around one side to the other. Okay, for what that's worth. The reason it happens is now if you don't move the mouse, the menu just kind of disappears. And that way there's not tons of stuff on the screen all the time when you don't need it. And we still have the equals button taking to give you the death counter down here. So we know it's 0D11 by NealCruco. So let's get started and try it. So I just turn that on, get the electric field pointing down. There we go. Nice. Nice. Oh, okay. Two deaths. This was a partner level to another one before, and I'd been pretty bad about doing these Feel Bad Fridays because I've been working on this 0.7, trying to get the electric fields correct. Now this level, mind you, is one where the electric fields are very simple. It's just down and up. Alright, let's look around. Down, up. Switch, which controls something. There's an up. Alright, apparently it took random player around a couple hundred levels to a couple hundred deaths to beat this level by NealCruco, so I've got a number to beat. Gosh, this is hard. Okay, so I just jump and over. Jump and over. Oh, that's good. Okay, I got that down. Jump and over. I get the switch here. The tiles are drawn completely differently than before. They used to be one big static image where all the pixels had to be redrawn, and that took a long time, especially since all the switches and things that were changing would take a significant batch of resources. So now things go really fast. Flip, 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 flip. No big deal. It takes a lot less memory on your computer. So all sorts of good stuff. So I'll remind you that allowed me to kind of calculate things better. Calculate the electric field much more accurately right now than it used to be. Now, hold on a second. Okay, now I can't get to those. But still, only 26 deaths. That's not bad. Here we go. Up, up, up. Let's see if I can get to the exit. Oh, interesting. There's another up arrow one there. And I can make it. But we're not going to do it that way. Not with 2 stars. Aha. Don't want to flip that. Oh. Wait. I thought I was really close. I'm not sure that I'm really close. Oh, I just need to get that one first? Okay. Because what'll happen is this bullet will come down in a moment, it'll explode that, and then it'll flip that switch there, so I only have a moment to get in there. So I want to really time this right. So I want to wait until the bullet's just fired. Go up, 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 up. Ha! Plenty of time to spare. Now I just need to survive. Isn't that how life works? So the reason, you might wonder why I'm having all this trouble with the electric fields and calculating them as we go through different versions of the Electric Shocktopus here. And you'd say to yourself, well, geez, it's just Coulomb's law. Well, I started a blog post about what's really going on, because in some levels it's really basic. Like in this level it's really basic. There's an electric field pointing up. You don't need to know much more than that. It's just every tile is the same electric field pointing up. But here we go. 27 deaths, all right, to beat 0D11. So that was a nice, well-balanced level. So it got me, it's like some challenges here to kind of jump across. So that was nice, especially nice to have that at the beginning. Good level design there. So you don't just die tons at the end and get really frustrated. And then that was neat with these. I always enjoy something where I don't realize it the first time. Like the first time through the level, I'm not going to beat it because I just don't know I have to go for that one first. But then when I know that, I was able to kind of time it just right. So not too hard, not overly hard. This is make a really nice level for a bunch of people, not just me, the creator of the game, in fact. So thank you, NealCruco, for sharing that level. Let me show off a couple other things that are going on here. And let me do it in a fresh new level to showcase Hex Cavern. Showcase some of the changes in the game. Get rid of the death counter. I don't need that anymore. In version 0.7 here, in addition to the standard stuff that you're used to and familiar with, we now have, oh, there we go, calculate the electric field. We now have a voltage meter. So I showed this off our last Feel Bad Friday, where you can go around and notice the voltage of any given tile here, or you can check the magnitude of the electric field at any given tile, or you can move a tile around. So those are the new tools. So in previous versions of the game, the electric field was all calculated the same no matter what, but in order to speed things up, I've changed it a bit so that now when you've got just a single charge, or you have any number of electric charges, it calculates it with Coulomb's law. And Coulomb's law is very simple, very basic, very easy. It's the 1 over r squared force law. So here we've got the voltages for this charge, which is 6,000, I guess, coulombs or some other measure in our universe. Unitless, for all I care. But it's 6,000 volts over here, one next to it, and then 3,000, 2,000, 1,500, and it drops off, in this case for the voltages, 1 over r, 1 over the distance. And so this is calculated with Coulomb's law, not calculated with the relaxation method. I'll mention that in a moment. And you can find the electric field too. The electric field in the game is calculated by averaging the points around. So it averages the voltages and uses voltage to figure out the electric field. It doesn't do it with Coulomb's law. So that's why you notice that the electric force here and the electric field is not what you'd expect. But if you press shift while you're using this electric field meter, it'll show you what Coulomb's law would tell you. So it's 600 when you're here, if you're doing it exactly. But if you're doing it by averaging, and the reason it's not perfect is these tiles are pretty big, and it's like doing a derivative, not with infinitesimals. You suddenly have an actual distance there. It calculates and uses in the game. It's 780 or so is the strength of the electric field. And then you can notice that as you get further away, how that kind of compares using the averages and how precise or imprecise that is. And of course, the further away you get, the less and less important it is because the distances are smaller that you're talking about. Okay. Now, if we change this, so we're not doing a conductor, or we're not doing a charge, we're doing a conductor instead, it can recalculate the electric field, and suddenly we can go back and find out the voltages. This is at 12,000 volts, and the voltages drop off as you head off towards the side of the screen, or the edges. This calculates using the relaxation method, but does a special version of it because these conductors actually extend in 3D space. So they go all the way into your eyeballs and all the way back into the wall in front of you, which means that you don't really care about that third dimension. You can calculate everything in 2 dimensions. That makes it really fast. Ooh, thank you, Facebook, for the email. Let me turn off the Wi-Fi. That goes pretty fast too. So these two go really fast. It's either 2 dimensions, you do the relaxation method, goes relatively fast, or you just do the Coulomb's law, and that goes really fast. But where it becomes difficult is when you've got both. Because now, since this charge is just sitting here, it's not a line of charges, you care about that third dimension, and so you need to calculate the relaxation method in full 3D. And so it takes about a second or so to do that for each of these levels. And then we see that, yeah, we've got this going on. Those are the 3 types. So just a charge, just a conductor, or both. And something else I figured out how to do, because that goes kind of slow. If it takes a couple seconds for each field calculation, if a level like 4348 by NealCruco, where there's, I think, at least 6, maybe more different fields you have to calculate, that's suddenly like 12 seconds or something. And you could imagine doing tons more. You could have 128 different electric fields with all these switches turning off electric charges and turning them on. I think you could do even more. And that would take a long time. That would be like minutes that you're waiting for the level to load, which is not okay. So what I did was make it so it only calculates the first one, and then it calculates all the rest in the background. So this level still loads really quickly because it just needed to calculate this. And now if we go and flip any switches, it's calculating it all in the background. And by the time I actually make it over to the switch to flip it, it's already calculated what happens now. And by the time I make it over to the switch to flip the yellow one, it'll calculate how the field needs to change for the yellow switch. So that way it does it kind of in the background. You don't need to sit and wait for a long time. So that's one way is able to really speed things up too and get the levels to load a lot faster. Now the other big thing, that was a lot about electric fields, but I'll show you in Strong Tower, you can now add a lot more tiles differently. So we've got the sand tiles, right? We've always had those, but now you can do the sand tiles as timed tiles. So they can flash on and off, and they fade over here, but now you can go over and melt the little sand tiles. As you can see, we can do a few extra tiles that we weren't able to do before. And now we can attach these bomb tiles, we can attach the sand blocks, we can attach the wooden ones all to the switches, or do any of them with timed too. So we've got the stars here that are flickering on and off, and that'll open up some cool possibilities. I figured, why not? If the stars work, why not make the other tiles work with that too? Of course, there'll be a version 0.8 coming along, so let me know what things work well for you, what things don't, and what new features you might want. Another one I'll show off. Before we go, one last one is we could take 0D11 and move it wherever we want, because we can now shift where the levels are in the game. So thank you very much, NealCruco, for sharing 0D11 with us. Keep your eyes peeled for version 0.7 of the Electric Shocktopus. Hopefully be coming your way very soon. All right. See you all next week on Feel Bad Friday.